All right.
We're going to bring up some models
Yes, we will.
to share with you guys.
Here, I'm gonna move this in. Can you want to, you boys take this? And we'll go back.
That one right in front of
I'm sorry.
Sit down.
Yes, that's sick. This one's the tricky one.
Yeah.
Put it over here. Would you like to go here or there?
Why don't you put it right in
Over
front
there?
of the two
Awesome.
students?
A little bit.
You guys can just go right
Excuse that.
No problem.
Here we go. Here, you can take a marble. And one of you boys. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Johnson. I am a freshman physics teacher here at the high school, and I have here with me three of my wonderful freshman students. The three musketeers I got with me here are Jacob and Aaron and Ben. Now, what you see in front of you here might look a little interesting, but that's for a good reason. This project that we did is called the Roller Coaster Project. These are, what you see there, roller coasters, based on just paper and tape. These students were limited on these two items. They could cut them, they could fold them, they could bend them, they could do whatever they wanted to them. But the entire purpose of this is to, in a hands-on way, best demonstrate conservation of energy. So conservation of energy is it's a concept that might be a little confusing to students when they're just reading it in a textbook, or just reading it in notes, or listening to me talk to them about this, or watching a video. The purpose of physics in this high school, what we're really trying to push with this program, is that hands-on learning that Mr. Gorman was telling you about, the introduction here. And being a physics teacher, and with this course, I feel like I have an obligation and an opportunity to really push that hands-on learning, because with these physics topics, we can apply them very directly to real life in ways that maybe you can't quite as easily in, say a biology or a chemistry class with, all the microscopic and intense chemicals and all of that we have to use in those classes. With physics, everything, this everyday life, there is something that you can do with very little materials that very well demonstrates these concepts. And so these students here were designing these coasters, and through the engineering design process, they had to go through trial and error to figure out the best possible way to make a marble, which I gave these two students, a little marble, go from the top, through a loop, through a spiral, to the bottom successfully. And they had to investigate whether energy was perfectly conserved in this experiment or not, and why. So I will hand this off here to the students here. Start off with Aaron.
Hey there, everybody. Before we start presenting this, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of my group for having us here. I really appreciate this opportunity. So now, without further ado, let's present what you all came here to see. So we first started working on this roller coaster when we were finishing up our work and energy unit, where we learn about things like watts, joule, other types of science mumbo jumbo like that. And to be perfectly honest with you, I just couldn't really grasp the subject that well until we started working on this. You see, while working on this, all these concepts we were learning about, like potential, kinetic energy, the momentum required to go through all these obstacles, all of that I could see right in front of my eyes, right? Like I could see why it does it, how it works, right? I could understand it better than, in my opinion, if we did it on a piece of paper. Not only that, but it helped to see, pardon the pun, things play in motion. And not only that, but being able to work with my peers, my classmates, it helped me. It turned this more than just a learning experience, but to a fun one.
Hi, thank you, school committee, for having us. I'm just going to tail off of what Aaron said. Oh, there's the marble going off. Sorry about that. Kind of jumped the gun there. One of the projects we did, obviously, was the roller coaster here, and we had some set rules, as previously stated by Mr. Johnson. You had to have a set amount of paper, tape, and time in order to make it. We had some problems through our process. We had problems with the walls of the roller coaster. The marble kept falling off. We had problems with the structure itself. Sometimes the towers holding up the track itself would sometimes collapse. But through a series of trial and error, we ended up, fixing these problems and making it as best as we could. I'm just going to hand it off to Ben here.
So, as Aaron had also said, and as you kind of saw if you did see it, when the marble was going down here, like it would go down here and then it got caught as it was hitting the loop. So, as you can see with that one, it's a lot taller. And with our trial and error, as Jake had said, we were able to see how the marble could go down a lot better and make it through the loop with the taller start. And by doing that, we were able to be more hands-on, and with some assistance from our amazing teacher, we were able to further understand how and why it wasn't working.
So how about we show them the one that works really well?
Let's just pray this works.
Oh, it will. Right to the bottom. And so both of these structures worked very well when I was testing them over the previous couple of days. In the transport process down here, of course, these are, as the students, had to deal with, this is just paper and tape. And so it's pretty flimsy. It's tough to transport from, the lab upstairs on the second floor down to here successfully without changing the angles and bending them a little bit. But what you're seeing here is, just one of many. At every single unit we have in this course, there's 10 chapters, we have at least 10 inquiry-based labs. So we start every unit with, a brief introduction of what the topic is. We talk about it a little bit as a class, figure out, okay, what do we know about this already? And then we, introduce the inquiry lab. So they enter this lab phase without really knowing too much about the unit yet, just brief introductions. We haven't done tons of in-depth discussions and notes. We haven't done a lot of crazy math yet in the chapter when we first introduced this. And with this, it allows the students to engage the material in a way that they otherwise might not, in a way that, some students connect with hands-on learning much better than they do, just in a traditional lecture and notes-based classroom. And physics is an MCAS class, so there's strict standards and timelines we have to follow. But I think that taking the extra time, this took a couple of days, taking the extra time to do this with our curriculum is valuable for helping these students connect in all sorts of ways, in every, connecting it with in every single way, whether it's, taking it in, listening, hands-on, writing, working with math, all aspects. So this is what we have. And thank you for giving us your space here. We'll get this out of your way here. And we would now like to introduce Tom and his computer science people.
So you'll go right, I'll go left. You dig, I'll bag.